Hello and welcome to another edition of Cisilian's Behind the Tech podcast. My name's Alex Hooper. I'm Director of Services and Business Transformation here at Cisilion. And today I'm joined by Luke Hemmings, one of our account directors, and Scott Johnson, who is Head of Client Success. And we're going to be talking about managed services today. Managed services are a key part of the Cisilion portfolio that we deliver to our customers. And I thought we'd talk today about what we're seeing in the industry, how we take our managed services out to market, and what the customers are actually asking for, and where those pain points are. And I suppose the first question to both of you is, what do you hear are the most common misconceptions about managed services?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I suppose one of the first things is that managed services isn't just about a help desk. Okay, what we're here for is making sure that we're augmenting our clients' IT teams. Okay, it's not just keeping the lights on, it's about making sure that clients are seeing and feeling the value of their IT services that they purchase.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more. I think, it's very commonly seen as it's kind of lumped in with the sort of general vendor maintenance, and people don't pay enough attention to it. It can be seen as a bit of an insurance rather than a sort of value add proposition. What managed services bring to the table so much more than just a sort of maintenance break fix support contract. So,
And from a sales side, what do you find customers are asking you for?
I think most of the conversations tend to be around the limited resourcing on customer side. It doesn't matter about the industry, the economy, the business type. Everyone is pushing to minimize their costs, maximize their output. And a part of that is obviously a limited number of technology representatives within their organizations. So I think things like managed services allow us to augment that sort of limited resource capability that they may have and free them up.
And it's not just about resources either. It's about capability.
Yeah.
I think we're certainly seeing. We all know that the IT technology space moves so quickly. It's impossible for clients to constantly upskill their team in terms of the next best widget thing.
And that speed of change within IT technology also brings in life cycle management as well. There's so many organizations in there that are sweating their legacy products, and then they're encountering cybersecurity issues. They're having trouble managing out old products and services. You're seeing, for example, there's a recent YouGov data release that's over 25% of the public services are running legacy hardware. So this is where we can help our clients through our managed services understand the roadmap. So it's another example of just where we're not just keeping the lights on. Our managed service is about working with clients to understand that roadmap, actually get the best value out of that, not just sweating.
Yeah, you both actually touched on a really good point there. When they're combined, in particular, the fact that technology moves so fast, and predominantly cybersecurity, which is obviously a massive problem, or massive issue across the board for every organisation, having capability in-house to effectively and proactively manage and monitor that, not just from a cybersecurity standpoint, but from things like end of support dates, end of life dates,
risk and compliance.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
constant. That is a ball level item we're seeing all the time now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of why we've developed our services to make sure that we can complement our clients with that, either through ourselves or through our partners, to help clients deliver on those things. And we've got examples that we can share with our clients and talk about them to help deliver against those.
I think going back to the question about misconception, I think there's also a misconception that taking a managed service means that your IT team loses control.
Yeah, definitely. I hear that a fair amount, and even when you try and broach that conversation with prospects or existing customers, it's like, oh no, we don't want to do that. We want to maintain management of our devices. But yeah, quite rightly, it's not about us taking over and
holding them at arm's length. It's about working together, and as you said before,
But I think often the managed service gives them that more control. It gives them that visibility of what's happening. It gives them control of their time to do core initiatives rather than fighting fires.
Yeah, we've got plenty of examples of clients where we're taking on that day-to-day activity. You know, we're taking on things like the patching and the maintenance. You know, doing things like those initial triage, putting optimizations in place, which is freeing up the client's IT teams to focus on their projects and their strategic thinking and plans. So that we're taking that on, but also we're giving them the visibility of that as well.
Yeah.
And on top of, and that sort of also complements, you know, making sure that we're combating the watermelon effect, where their IT teams are trying to, you know, giving their providers, their users, telling them that everything's up and great. What we are also here to do, and is to make sure that we also understand the user experience as well. Again, that's a big thing for, you know, misconception on managed services. It's not just about everything's green, because if we're saying everything's green, your IT team is saying everything's green, but if the user experience is bad, then you've got that classic watermelon. So, you know, one of the things that, you know, a good managed service provider should be doing is getting close to those users who are actually using the product, not just those technology people, to understand what's going on. Because the last thing you want is spending all of this money, getting all of these green lights given to your management, and then you come into a board meeting and they say, I'm sorry, I totally disagree with
the
that.
AV system didn't work.
Yeah,
IT
exactly.
rubbish.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's the last thing
Yeah, it's
we
not
want to be
binary,
doing.
is it? There's nuance to it.
and where do you think traditional in-house IT teams fall short for modern organisations? No disrespect to them, obviously, but you know, I think, you know, where do you see sometimes they struggle?
I'd say logically you can see, you know, any IT team, regardless of the size of them, will have their specialties and they'll have their areas that they focus on, and they'll have their day-to-day job. I'm trying to stay in touch with the rapidly evolving IT market and landscape is nigh on impossible. People like us and the teams that we work with do that for a living. Their day-to-day is understanding the roadmap of changes and making sure that they relay how that will impact customers best. And you know, you've got an oversubscribed IT team's going to struggle to.
So capacity.
Yeah.
I think they get consumed with the operational tasks.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know whether it's patching, maintaining networks, troubleshooting, alerts, all that noise kind of stops them actually focusing on doing the strategic things, the old sharpening the axe.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
thing. So I think capacity is one thing. I think capability is
Yeah.
another.
When you're looking at the IT sprawl and the constant change that we're seeing in there, you know, there's no IT team who is going to be able to stay on top of all of those things. You know, you look at the number of products and services just within Azure itself. There's no one person who's going to be on top of all of that, and this is where we can augment these and work in partnership with our clients to make sure that those things are delivered.
Yeah, and it's often, I think, it's that specialist knowledge that a partner can bring is hugely beneficial, and that specialist knowledge, that ability to automate a lot of these activities. You know, and we see it with a number of our clients where we're just, you know, our task is to take that noise away and actually allow their internal teams to actually, you know, do the important things that, you know, that are driving the business forward.
It's about giving them their focus back. Really, at the end of the day, it's, you know, you're an IT team. You're spending a lot of money in making sure that you employ the right people, and you want them to deliver what you've got them in for, which will be those projects, making sure that those key areas of your business are working, and you're dealing with that. Whereas this day-to-day stuff and the firefighting, that's what you can pass on to an MSP. And that's where the real value is, because the last thing you want to be doing is someone who's paid a lot of money at a third line sort of level dealing with first line triage, because, you know, they have to keep those lights on. You can pass that on.
I guess that talks very nicely into our general message and the ethos of Cisilion and how we go to market, and it's that value-add extension of a client's IT team.
Yeah.
Things like this are a perfect example of where we're not taking control. We're not a transactional organization, and we're not trying to sell. We're looking to understand business challenge and deliver valuable solutions and services that can augment that.
Yeah. We need to integrate in part of into the client's ecosystem.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think it's really key not to be seen as a third-party supplier.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely not.
You are part of an integrated system that works seamlessly together.
Yeah, and this where really where we can help, and MSP can help with the challenges and that all IT teams are having at the moment. And you're seeing regular things like the IT automation and just trying to get ready for that, and and with a lot of customers and organisations having a lack of focus and a lack of expertise in that area is a big challenge for that. And that again shows where we can help augment it, not just from a service desk point of view, but also from our professional services and also our leveraging our partner services as well through people like Microsoft and Cisco, who we've got those strategic programs in place with, which we can help deliver.
Absolutely. And when you look at it holistically, it's not similar to the watermelon effect and then up-down service. It's not a binary thing. Managed service is one element of what we do, but where you mention things like professional services and solutions consultancy, all of them work together and all of them feed into each other. There's that bleed effect, and if you, as a partner, our goal is to manage that effectively, but deliver maximum value however we achieve that.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about delivering value, Scott, for you, we've seen over the last five or so years the term service delivery managers has been replaced with client success. What do you see the nuance of change and difference between those two terms is?
Well, it's your classic service delivery is all about keeping the lights on, and there is absolute value in doing that as well. But where you've got particularly as we move more and more into the cloud, one of the key things is trying to be able to deliver the value, and also not just delivering the value, being able to demonstrate what that value is. And that's where a client success comes in, and that's the difference between your service delivery and
Answering the so what.
Exactly. Asking the right questions as well, is understanding what one client finds valuable is different to what another client is. So, you may have exactly the same products and services, but they need different things. And that's where client success, it's bridging that gap between people and technology and the outcomes.
And enabling that that technology. I think we often see that clients spend a lot of money integrating a system, but then they kind of don't integrate it enough into the user base to the right experience.
Exactly.
Getting that value for money out of the licensing that they've bought.
If you don't adopt, you're not going to get your ROI.
Yeah,
that's the main thing, because if you pay all that money for all of those products and no one's using it, what is the point in buying it?
Absolutely.
And you've got, you have licenses sitting there doing nothing. That's one of the simple activities that we can do to help with cost optimization or adoption of services, and that's really is classically what a client success manager is looking to do with our clients.
Looking forward of how am I going to improve the system as a customer, rather than this is what happened last month. It's already happened. It's gone. It's done.
Exactly.
Yes, you can learn from it, but in reality, what we want to be focused on is how we make things better.
Exactly, and this is where, again, speaking to the the stakeholders who are actually using the product, not just the IT team, or the service desk, they're interested in making sure, all the numbers are good, but it's the people who are using it. They may well see that the product is working. They might feel that, but the main thing is if it's not working for them, they're not seeing the value. And that's where a client success manager, it differentiates from a service delivery.
I'd also expand on that and say on the other end of the scale, obviously from my side, I tend to see a lot of sort of senior leadership, exec level people at my customers, and they don't want to see the ticket counts. They don't want to see, yeah, great, we're at 99% SLA or whatever it is. They want to understand what impact that's driving for the end users, and they want to understand, similar to technology teams keeping up with trends in the industry. They want to get ahead of, they want to proactively understand what things are coming out in the industry in the near future, what buzz phrases and what issues they're going to face, and what kind of risk they need to mitigate and things like that. And having a client success manager isn't just, as opposed to a service delivery manager, isn't just a name change. I've seen firsthand the value that it brings to translating that technology impact to a C-suite executive. And helping them understand.
Is there difference between a strategic partner and just a supplier?
Yeah,
and that's what you want from from a really good quality MSP. You're not just a supplier just delivering that contract. You're delivering value, understanding the client's outcome, and supporting them to deliver it.
Absolutely. And look, you mentioned your conversations with C-level people. What do you think the main pressures they're experiencing right now from an IT perspective?
I would say there's a couple of mainstays: cost management, the ability,
and predictability. I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah, especially at that level. The ability to grow, particularly at a C-suite level, leadership level. They're looking at the high level, the next 12, 18, 24 months. So it's understanding risk mitigation challenges, understanding that things are actually working well for them, because they don't see the day-to-day 9 times out of 10. And then I guess I would say understanding what the additional value is, because you've also got, particularly in C-suite, to use as an example, some of them have really trusted operational teams that negotiate these contracts, and we'll get them signed, and it will go to the C-suite to sign off or raise a PO. So they'll see the chunk of money that's going out. But if we're doing our jobs really well, that C-level executive isn't going to see any day-to-day impact, because everything is going to work really well. They're not going to have any problems. So it's understanding how that translates into a really valuable service. And also the end user experience. I've got one customer in particular, and their CISO was wholly focused on the user experience. Back to office or not, they wanted both their end users and their clients that they're bringing for meetings, things like that, to walk into their office and go, "This is fantastic. Everything just works." So that's a really, really critical, because it's all about at that point. It's all about I guess I don't want to say marketing, but it's like the perception of them as a company, the perception of their capabilities, their professionalism, things like that. And if they're bringing customers in, that particular example is an insurance client, and they're negotiating multi-million-dollar insurance deals and bonds and things like that, and they don't want someone to come in and they can't share their screen on a video call, or they can't get on the Wi-Fi because it's a bit janky in this corner of the office.
It's amazing how the whole AV world has just it's almost like
loaded, isn't it?
The precipice of experiences when you can actually get onto a meeting.
And don't ask me, I, even if it works perfectly, I wouldn't know how to plug in my cable, but I know
you are in sales. So I think in terms of pressures, that cost efficiency and predictability.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I think cyber security, risk management.
Absolutely,
just.
And it's obviously not just a buzzword. Cybersecurity is a real present and ever-growing threat. But particularly we see retail. I've got a retail customer, and we had a spate of ransomware attacks across the industry. Not my customers, but that immediately has every sort of C-suite and executive level person sending out, what's happening, how we protected, how we recovered, because they don't want to have to work out how to fix it after the fact. So obviously, they want to know that they are protected and they have a partner that is thinking of these things for them, so that they can focus on their day to day.
And I think maybe one more to add to that is skills and resource shortages.
Definitely.
I think we've certainly seen that there's a difficulty to recruit and retain good talent. And I think using an MSP like Cisilion allows you to bridge that.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's like it kind of bleeds back into the cost management, cost efficiency piece, right? Where they don't want to have to go out and hire someone who is a 40-year expert in X technology and X technology. They want to know that they've got a partner who can cover those, and they've got those skills. they're paying a price for it, but it's far lower than what they pay for multiple members of staff that are only focused on that as well.
Yeah.
Or if they've got those resources, they've got their nose in, BAU activities. You want to make sure that they're concentrating on those projects and those strategic, outcomes that they're looking to deliver, not dealing with, Y and AV room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from delivering a service, how important is that data, the insights into that customer's environment? What does that allow us to do, Scott?
So what that allows us to do is sort of dig into exactly what is going on rather than just going for what the feel is. Okay, and a lot of the time, a client or a user's perception is really important. So it's always very important to understand what those items, that perception is, but then digging into that data and also the various data points that we have is really important. So, we use various data points from across our own business, from our vendor tools as well, to understand how the health of a room, a network, a client in general actually is. And it's not just about making sure that it's just the SLAs that are working, it's actually digging into it. And that's what our service sector does as well. It's not just managing tickets, it's looking how is this product performing? And then giving the client
that trend analysis.
Yeah, trend analysis or, utilization. Customers spent tens of thousands of pounds or dollars on a room, and it's a 5% utilization during business hours. Where's your ROI on that?
Yeah.
So understanding that and then helping the clients again with adoption or, why is it that people aren't using those? Going out and seeking and asking those right questions.
I definitely had to, and first-hand experience with your team, Scott. Data is critical, as you can never have enough data, but it's one thing having all of those data points, then it's another thing having somebody who understands what that means and translating that. Somebody who doesn't want to join a PowerPoint, look at a PowerPoint stare at a spreadsheet, right? And that's one of the real benefits, in fact, so I've seen, particularly with some, your team.
I think you can have too much data, to be honest here.
I love spreadsheets, so there's never too much for me, but
it's how you then, see the wood from the trees.
Yeah.
Creating that narrative.
Yeah.
On what's going on with the room in general is really important because, as you say, you can have too much data. But why our team and the people who support us in our technical teams, they help us understand where the trends are coming in and what the data actually means. So you're actually, sometimes you've got so much you can't see the wood for the trees. So you're looking at that actual data and saying, right, okay, you can pinpoint what's going on. And then it's a case of continuous improvement. You look at that, you agree with the client, your course of action, you carry out that change, you monitor and make sure it's being delivered. When we need to make a change or we move on to something else, that's what we do. It's all about making sure we understand it and working and bringing a client along with it, with our initiatives, because that is how you demonstrate, some of the value that we're delivering as a managed service.
Yeah. And effectively trying to remove the friction.
Yeah.
Of IT, and I always think that people talk about security being a blocker, but in reality, I think security should be an enabler.
Yeah.
A business should be able to go to IT and say, we want to do this, can we do it? And the answer should be, well, we can't, because we've got X, Y, Z. That it should be yes, we can. And I think part of being a managed service provider goes beyond the service center, goes beyond the client success role, but actually using the organisation as a technical sounding board. Using the solution architects, you using the rest of the organisation to pull in. How should we do this? We want to do X, Y, Z.
I mean, we've been helping our clients deliver the changes that they need to do on fairly legacy systems that we've taken on as a managed service and help them make the changes and understand what process they needed to do differently to deliver things like Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus, which is a big strategic win and tick in the box for a lot of these clients, particularly in the current environment. And we will make sure
that we understand what it is they're doing and help them bring that
Yeah.
along. And it's so that's absolutely not keeping the lights on. That's our service centre working with the client and actually helping them.
And that's a really good example of how managed services can help our customers grow,
Yeah.
and scale and prepare for future projects. We've got some more examples of how we can do that through managed services, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can use things like Microsoft funded services like CSI and the AI Ops programs. We've helped our clients understand the need for what their needs are for their expectations for AI, and then we help them understand how they need to prepare for it, deliver, and see through delivery as well. We also work with Cisco, one of our other main strategic partners, within utilizing their CX practices as well, and making sure that they get the most out of their products, stay on top of the services, and make sure they're properly managing their life cycle as well. So those are some of the activities that we do there. And then the other things is if we're there for an augmentation, we actually we set some baselines. Like one of our clients that we just recently renewed, we provided some data work with them on this, and we worked out that we're spending nearly 300 hours, or saving the client, 300 hours per quarter by managing the day-to-day activities on their network and their service on their servers.
That's a really powerful ROI stat.
Well, that's the sort of stat that we can give a client when it comes to throughout the service, track that, and then you've got a tangible result that shows, right, they're the guys who used to be doing that are now working on their projects.
Yeah.
So
And I think as a business, adding that, going back in the midst of time, renewals were sometimes a tricky thing to get through. As a salesperson, you want a renewal to be automatic. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want any blockers to that, and sometimes the old days of, well, we've been delivering managed service. It's been green for 3 years. We haven't had to do anything. And that doesn't sit now. That doesn't sit because when the FD needs to sign off that managed service, well, what value have you given us?
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to do this proactive value user experience service
Absolutely.
to help that renewal.
Yeah, exactly that. It shouldn't. One of my biggest things I like to try and get into customers is managed services, because that's where we can provide maximum value as a partner. And it should never get to the point, in my personal opinion, that you'll get into a renewal and there's a question as to whether or not they want to renew. It should always be, we've been putting in all of this groundwork for the last 12, 18, 24, 36 months. They see the value. They see day in, day out what the client success managers deliver, what the service centers deliver. For them, it's a mainstay. Yeah, of course.
And if we go back to the start of the conversation, if you're part of their team and they see you as part of their team, it's very hard for them to go, well, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Or we don't want you anymore.
And this is one of the reasons why that engagement is one of the key metrics that we use with our help. Our client health scores. The customer's not engaging, but we've got 99% SLAs on everything. Then when it comes to renewals, they're gonna be like, where is the value? Why are you?
And how do you track that customer experience?
So this is where there are a number of things that we pull from across our own organisation, how they're actually doing that, and that can be from their engagement with our account managers, their QBRs, making sure that we're doing that. Also making sure that even that down to making sure their invoices are provided on time, and they've got no queries about how that's able to be done. So people can sign those off in confidence. Okay, so it's not just about SLAs and what have you as well. So we track those things. If the client's not engaging with us across the areas of our business, then we know that a client is probably looking at other partners. It's not a partnership. If you're not engaging in those areas, we're a supplier, and that's not where we want to be.
Yeah, that silence is a lot louder than shouting, isn't it? You'd rather, I personally would rather a customer shouting at us and we were engaging with them than we weren't hearing anything. And you know, when you step back and look at that, exactly as you said,
Yeah.
there's a gap there. We're
We
delivering
keep going around breaking.
Yeah.
So then we can deliver.
Exactly that. It's a perfect partnership.
Yeah, and we've got to measure success by the client outcomes.
Yeah,
and
that's
you know
right,
you've got to take ownership of the results,
Mm.
not just the individual tasks.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where understanding during the sales cycle, you know, when we're first engaging with a client or we're first architecting a new solution for a client, embedding what the success criteria for those products is really, really important. Because, well, I mean, number one, it's challenging for my team if we haven't had those conversations during that period of time. But it also, I think it helps focus the client and ourselves in making sure that you're building a solution that works for the users. It's very, very easy to get focused upon what the technology can do, not what it can deliver for your users and the business. So that's a really important thing of what client success should be embedded in what you're doing. And that needs to be done at the start of the sales cycle.
I personally, several years ago, learned firsthand that lesson. I learned it the hard way, and ever since then, I think it's crucial that in the same way, you know, if someone wants to have a conversation with me about Cisco Nexus devices, I'm not going to try and talk about that. I'm going to bring in one of our solution, our subject matter experts. Exactly the same with the CSM team. You know, bringing one of these people to help us structure that and ensure that what we're doing isn't just saying yes and delivering something and selling something, but it's also addressing business challenges and making suggestions or saying
You have the trust. The customer's going to trust you. That A, you know what you're talking about, and B, you're not.
Not saying yes. Yeah. As a sales guy, so I try and stay on mute as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, and also as well, you know, you as an account manager and you know your peers, you're the front of the front of the spear. You know, you're the tip of the spear. You've got all this extra support behind you, and part of one of the things that as account manager and CSM should be working in partnership is identifying where all this support in the background is to help bring it in to our clients. As much as anything, it's not just adopting sometimes the products that the customer provides, it's the services that are available available from Cisilion, I should say. It's really important as well because and sometimes our clients, because they're not engaging with us, they're treating us as a supplier, they're missing out on all the rest of it. Absolutely. And this is where making sure that between the CSM and the sales teams, we build that relationship. And relationship management is really important in making sure we do build a partnership.
Yeah, true partnership rather than transactional.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent. And I think it kind of the conversation leads that not all MSPs are the same, are they? And how would you, I suppose maybe to close, how is Sicilian different?
So I mean, I would say one of our biggest USP. You're absolutely right there, and there are lots of MSPs that are very, very good at what they do. I could say some are very good in siloed areas. I would say one of Sicilian's greatest USPs is that relationship piece and that going beyond expectations, understanding clients, not just understanding what they do, but understanding their industry, following where they trends and changes, regulatory compliance changes, things like that, and ensuring that our services and delivery mechanisms are attuned to that. Personally, we really are a relationship driven.
And that you mentioned that industry knowledge is key.
Critical. Because it's not an easy task. Everyone can say that as well. We understand the insurance sector. We understand the challenges that the legal sector go through, but having various people in, as I said before, subject matter experts, really understanding that and being able to translate how that impacts our clients and what impact that will have on their ability to deliver their services and their products to their customers, and what we can do to help them enable that is critical. And I don't think that's, I'm sure some other MSPs do a fantastic job in some of those areas, but I think one of the biggest selling points for me is our ability to do that and understand business challenges and changes and make sure that we're addressing those.
It's the outcomes.
Yeah,
that's ultimately at the end of the day what we need to do and understand and be accountable for delivering the outcomes that they want. from their products and services.
Oh, for sure.
And identifying that, just to reiterate, from the beginning in the sales cycle, so that we're able to constantly do that. But then also continuous improvement. It's a big part of ITIL, which is a big part of the thing that we do in our services, is making and we embed continuous improvement in that. So we may well have had during the sales cycle the conversations about, you know, what they want to be delivering, but as we mature our partnership, making sure that we continuously have those questions about, right, what needs to be improved, what is the changes in your industry, your business as a whole, or the products and services. Those are really key as well in building that partnership and trust.
And challenging them, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I think you got to be able to challenge your customers.
Absolutely. No one likes a yes man.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. And you really do prove your worth and your understanding and knowledge when you can, you know, speak up and say, this isn't right for you. Yeah, we expect this would be a better fit for whatever reason, without giving specifics, but
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you do that, you really do become an extension of their
absolutely.
IT leadership team, don't you?
Yeah, and that's really what we're aiming to make sure that we do. And if we can prove that we're able to deliver on those things and understand what it is that they're looking for with those outcomes, then we're going to be able to do that. So that, again, that's all about relationship management and understanding the outcomes that they're looking to deliver.
So look, you were talking about challenges that the C-level suite have, and you know, I think we all recognise that cybersecurity is absolutely key. We've obviously seen the high profile ransomware attacks. Yeah, in terms of a managed service provider, the ability to keep the environment secure is massively important. So that patching, that vulnerability assessment, that has to be part of your service.
Yeah, and it's not that, you know, typically things like that aren't always top of mind when you hear security, particularly as buzzword. You hear about the ransomware attacks and the bits that you see in the news, hackers and things like that. It might not be the most attractive stuff, but you know, patch management, end of life management. You know, devices might be going end of life in 2027, but they're not going to receive security updates after 2025.
That's where your legacy and your life cycle management is super important. Staying on top of where things are with vulnerability. We're constantly evaluating our vulnerability management processes. We've got automations in place now that immediately make sure that if there is a vulnerability that's alerted by any of our key vendors, our tools automatically check whether that's potential impact from our clients before they engage our second and third line teams.
And often the door that opens is often a legacy system. It's not something brand new that's been, you know, patched and secured to the nth degree. It's an old server sitting there. It's an old router, a switch that's, you know, has almost been forgotten about.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not necessarily that we're in a position to close down the potential attack vectors when it comes to a cyber attack. It's about identifying what they are.
Yeah,
you know, if we're in a position, if we're in a position to do that, you know, we may not be providing products or services, but if we can provide that insight, the knowledge from, you know, our various members of our teams, then that's valuable. Yeah. That's valuable to our clients, even if we're not ultimately the people who are responsible for it.
And I suppose of that you mentioned the word knowledge. That's also user knowledge about you know, what could happen on, you know, phishing attacks, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But that all has to be intrinsically linked to how users adopt the technology.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, again, talking about adoption and getting closer to those users is really, really important, because, you know, you could, if you're working with a client, their IT team, you're putting in a super secure environment. You think it's all, you know, top notch. Then you start speaking to users, their experience is terrible. Then you need to start working with that IT team and their management to say, right, okay, what can we do to improve that experience for clients? And
that's where CSMs can get involved in speaking with those users to try and this is the baseline, this is what they're doing. Let's try and see what we can do to improve that. Sometimes it may be just a case of, sorry guys, you've got to suck it up. It's it's a bad world out there. But if we're in a position to help those clients demonstrate and educate those users on how to do that, then that's really important.
Totally agree. Thanks.